Welcome to Haunted Talks, the official podcast of The Haunted Walk, offering thematic walking tours and paranormal adventures in Kingston, Ottawa, and Toronto, Ontario. My name is Jim Dean. I am the creative director, and it is great to be back in the studio with you today. Would you buy a haunted doll or a possessed puppet? Every day on eBay, people are doing just that, sometimes spending hundreds of dollars on these very unique and disturbing children's toys. I figured there was no better way to explore this intriguing subculture than to jump right in. Luckily, the founder of the Haunted Walk, Glen Shackleton, is really bothered by creepy dolls. They freak him out. So the tour guides and I got together and decided what would make a better Christmas gift for Glen than letting him choose his very own haunted doll. To make it even more fun, we didn't tell him the topic of this episode before we sat him down to make his decision. But before we get to that, the holiday season is here and we have officially started our Nightmare Before and After Xmas tours in Ottawa and Toronto. Hear about strange and frightening holiday traditions from around the world and gather in close as we share some creepy Christmas-themed ghost stories. Pay close attention to the stories, and you just might win yourself some extra presents before the night is through. The tours in Ottawa run on various evenings from December 8th through the 30th, and in Toronto from December 27th to the 30th. Also in Toronto, we'll be part of the Christmas by Lamplight event at Black Creek Pioneer Village, which takes place on December 8th, 15th, and 22nd, where the village is transformed by the glow of lamps and lanterns into a beautiful Victorian Christmas celebration. We, of course, will be following the Victorian tradition of sharing ghost stories around the holidays. For more information or to purchase tickets, please visit our website, which is hauntedwalk.com. If you search for haunted dolls on eBay right now, you will come up with hundreds of listings. I was curious how many of these listings actually sell, and calculated that over the past week, the past 7 days, there have been close to $3,000 in sales of haunted dolls on eBay. Assuming around Halloween is the peak buying time for this kind of product, we can safely assume that somewhere close to $250,000 in sales of haunted dolls takes place each year on eBay. Many of these dolls are in poor condition, which seems an important part of the aesthetic, and in some ways, the worse they look, the more they can be sold for. This creates some interesting economic opportunity for the unscrupulous. The majority of the dolls I have seen listed look like the kind you could buy at a garage sale or a thrift store very cheaply. If you can buy a doll for $1 and then flip it as a haunted doll on eBay for $30, which seems typically be an average price, that's a huge profit margin and creates considerable motivation to find more of these quote-unquote haunted items to sell. In my research, I did find the listings dominated by a handful of sellers. In those listings, there was a lot of the same language and expressions used over and over again. There are often extraordinary claims in the listings without any attempt to provide proof or evidence of them. One of the ones I saw many times was the idea that the doll would talk to you. Now, I guess no one thought to pull out their phone and grab a little video while that was happening. The dolls come in all shapes and sizes, and each comes with their own unique backstory, and often a list of paranormal activity associated with it. Some of the dolls seem to be possessed by evil spirits that want to cause harm physically or psychologically to their owners. Others seem to be friendly spirits who love to laugh and giggle and have a good time and are just looking for someone to take care of them. Others are empty vessels that can be filled with any spirit you wish by the seller. It is difficult to say who is buying these dolls. Some must purchase them for the novelty of owning a haunted item, and it serves a role as kind of a fun conversation piece. Some must also purchase them with the belief that they do contain a spirit they wish to interact with in some manner. Some are likely a combination of the two. As Glenn and I go through the short list of his soon-to-be doll, we do take a light-hearted approach. But that is certainly not to say we do not believe in the possibility of haunted dolls, possession, or spirit binding. But in the world of eBay, where haunted items are regularly bought and sold like a commodity, the staggering amount of extraordinary claims makes it somewhat difficult to believe. Though, I do have a secret to share, which I will save for the end of the show. I have made an image gallery of the haunted dolls Glenn is considering, so if you jump on our website, hauntedwalk.com/podcasts, in the episode notes for this episode, there'll be a link up there if you want to check out what these dolls look like. So Glenn, thanks for joining us for this week's episode. I know you have no idea what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Maybe.
And I know you're a bit under the weather too, so you got that good radio voice right now. But we appreciate you making the time to sit down about this yet to be disclosed topic.
Well, I'm a little bit extra husky, got a little bit of a cold, so I'm also on some serious cold medication. So I feel like this whole thing could just be like an elaborate gaslighting of me, like a YouTube video of people after they've been to the dentist or something.
Well, the medication may help with today's topic because the topic we are exploring is the haunted doll phenomena, particularly how there's a huge trade in selling haunted dolls on eBay. So we do have a little surprise for you later in the show, but just so we can fill everyone in, one of the things I know about you is that you have a real, I don't know if fear is the right word, I don't know if it's phobia, but you do not interact well with, I would say, dolls or creepy dolls. I wonder if you could fill us in of your thoughts on the creepy doll genre.
I have a profound dislike of dolls, let's put it that way. I think it was originally a phobia, but after repeated triggering of it by my 3 older brothers, probably I can't really say it's a phobia anymore because I spent a lot of time around creepy dolls. But ever since I think I was a kid, my brother, one of my brothers had a doll that was it was a ventriloquist doll that looked pretty much exactly like Chucky from Child's Play, but it was actually the doll which, from what I understand, they based that character on. So It was even creepier than Chucky, but it was older. So that scared the hell out of me. So naturally, my brothers would do things like hide it in my sock drawer and put all the socks over it. So when I went to pull out a pair, I would see Chucky's face there in my drawer, or ambushing me with it in other ways. Plenty of reasons I'm uncomfortable with them for sure.
Now, I don't know if you want to tell this story, but I also recall a story of, I think you were in university and you had a young lady you were involved, but somehow she got a hold of the doll or something.
Well, yeah, Chucky, unfortunately, I ended up inheriting Chucky, and, not like my brother's still alive, but he abandoned Chucky behind, and I took him with me to university. And at one point, a group of young women that I was hanging out with kidnapped him, and then they started sending me his body parts one by one in the mail. So,
oh no!
So in the end, now Chucky still lives here in our office, but he's reduced purely to a head. The rest of his body has gone missing. It never was returned. I think I did get most of them back, but I don't know what happened to the rest of them.
It does make him more frightening, maybe. We do run into his head occasionally here when we open a drawer and things of that nature. So it is the holiday season, and I've been talking with the teams in Kingston, Ottawa, and Toronto, and we wanted to get you something really meaningful this holiday season. So we've decided we're going to let you pick your very own haunted doll off eBay, and then we're going to try to buy it for you.
Oh.
Asterisk, assuming the price doesn't get out of hand.
Yeah. Wow, what a thoughtful gift.
So I'm sure you're very excited to maybe start looking at some of these dolls now and seeing what your options are. There's a lot of options out there. I'm not sure. Any thoughts off the top of your head as to what you would be looking for in your ideal haunted or possessed doll?
Well, growing up, we had a doll in the house that was probably the one that scared me the most because it was like very antique looking thing. It was a mama doll, and so it would you'd pick it up and it was designed, it was actually an antique, and if you picked it up, it would it would go like ma ma, like make a creepy sound. I don't want something like that because that doll had not spoken in like 10 years. And then one time I was just walking through the living room, and this doll was just always kept in this kind of cradle or whatever, I guess. I don't know. It was just on display, but no one ever touched it. But I was just walking through the living room one time, and then I just hear it kind of just let out this horrible ma ma,
yeah,
like slow sound. So yeah, basically, I guess whether you want to look at it as that I don't or I do want, I think some ones that make noises are probably the worst ones.
Yes, on a pro or con, I guess.
Yeah, whether you want to, however you want to look at that, glass half haunted or yeah,
or not. All right, well let's jump into the first one here. So we got a series for you to ponder, and we'll read some of the descriptions because that's really where I think the fun is in these products. So the first one is Haunted Doll Demonic EMF, which I assume means it is somehow registering on EMF meters.
Okay.
We will see. But here's the description. Due to recent activity, I've decided to part with this. I obtained this doll from an investigation my team and I did in Connecticut. I was called in because the family's mother was acting strange. She had the characteristics of possession. I was told right after they moved into the old cottage house. Inside of the home, a lot of items were left behind by the previous owners, including this doll. I contacted the local priesthood, saying the family needed a cleansing and exorcism of the house and the mother. They agreed and announced they would perform this exorcism and cleansing. After the exorcism was complete, strange occurrences continued to happen. The mother kept acting strange. 2 nights afterwards, this is the poster, I received a call from the father asking me to come to their house immediately. That's quality service, by the way. When your paranormal team is on standby 24 hours a day, that's impressive.
Yeah. I also wanted to say, would it really kill these eBay, people advertising stuff on eBay to maybe get someone to proofread their lack of sentence structure grammar?
I think you should just be appreciative. This one is not in all caps because
right.
we see that too.
Yeah.
But a fair point. So Poster gets the call. He needs to get over there right away because the mother was trying to kill the daughters. And the story goes on. I had to hold the mother down, asking if she'd kept anything from the past owners or if she brought anything old or antique into the home since they moved in. The father claimed the mother found this doll, on the bed after she moved in. She kept it for herself to start a collection. As I said to the father, to take the doll, put it outside. He ran upstairs, got the doll, threw it out the front porch, and after the doll was taken out of the house, things seemed to go back to normal, except for a few bruises and cuts she did get on herself while possessed, as happens while you're possessed. I took the doll home. This was very, very brave, I thought, if you think the doll is actually evilly possessed. Yeah. I took the doll home, locked it away until, surprise, surprise, strange things started to happen, such as glass breaking, and there's a photo of a broken glass door, shadow figures manifesting, and the doll itself moving on its own from one location to another. Mm-hmm. Due to the history of possession associated with the demon that is attached to this doll in recent events, I need to part with it for safety reasons. Now, that's not a sales pitch. I don't know what is. How would you describe that doll?
Well, first of all, I can describe the doll. It's wearing kind of a, I don't know, pink poofy dress, I guess, and it's got like a hard plastic head. Kind of got like a weird, I guess, like vintage hairstyle, I guess, like like a Shirley Temple kind of thing or something. But I just want to back up a little bit here into this story. So if the mother of this family is trying to kill the daughters, and so this person came over to the house, and her first question is, have you brought in any creepy, weird dolls into the house lately?
It is perhaps a strange first question. Agreed.
It's a bit of a... I'm just saying the police, I'm not sure that that's part of standard procedure in responding to a attempted murder. But, they might want to consider it if maybe there's something to this. This could definitely be... this could be useful knowledge for the world to have if this is a common thing that happens out there. Yeah, I don't know about this one.
We can think about it.
Yeah.
We can think about it. That's haunted doll demonic EMF.
Okay.
We have some other excellent choices for you to consider. This one, the size of it, I think, makes it incredibly creepy. So this is a haunted extra large Raggedy Ann doll. And from the photo, it looks like, I don't know, a 5 or 6 year old girl holding it, and it's about the same size that she is. And
now, is this a really big doll, or is this like a really small girl?
Well, that's a fair point.
It could be some eBay trickery.
It's a fair point. It could be photoshopped.
This could be like one of those ads for, for furniture or something that when you get them, they're 6 inches tall.
We may find out if we order this one. But the interesting part about this one from the description is, now here is a rare chance to own a custom spirit-bonded Raggedy Ann. You can choose any entity of your choice, and we will attach the spirit to this doll vessel. Now you have the chance to customize your own darling Raggedy doll, and not only any Raggedy Ann, a super large one. This doll is perfect for cuddling. You can even purchase one and have an angelic entity attached and give it to your child for protection. Then I like the next line here. Or you can make it your very own Annabelle by attaching a demonic presence. You can make it mystical by attaching an elf, a couple words I don't know, or a fairy.
What is an arcane Sonny?
We'll have to look that up.
Okay.
Whatever your favorite, being it is now your own beautiful doll, and you can seem to get spirit attached by request. This is a kind of a choose your own adventure aspect to it.
Yeah.
Does that appeal to you?
Well, I wonder about the ethics of this. I mean, if you're able to put anybody's soul or spirit into this doll, I mean, there's definitely lots of ways you could abuse that. But is it right? I'm not sure I'd feel right about it. I mean, it's one thing to have like an evil, murderous doll that already is, out there in the world, but creating one, that might just be a step too far.
It may be a question of how do they acquire the spirits they're going to attach. How that transaction works is a bit tricky.
Yeah, I mean, far be it from me to sound skeptical of this claim, but they say that they can attach any entity of your choice. Well, I'm going to have to think about that because, that does open up a lot of doors.
And you could obviously put something very incongruous with a happy-looking doll, too. I mean, something very dark and creepy. I mean, that's the basis of a good story, I think.
Yeah.
It could be a conversation piece in your living room.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little big. I'll say that. I mean, even if it is a small child, the doll is extra large as advertised. So, and that might take up a little too much room. From a practical standpoint, like even if it was, I don't know, to hold like a really cool spirit or entity in it,
like Andre the Giant or something.
Andre the Giant is perfect. But is that right to Andre?
That's a good question. That's a very good question.
Is it right to stick him into a Raggedy Ann doll? It kind of feels like they could sell you just about anything here if they were able to actually decide what spirit gets attached to it. Then what's the purpose of the doll?
It kind of takes Empty Vessel to a new level.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about this one. That one, I think I'm not as keen on that one.
So we'll just put that in the no bin then, maybe right away. Yeah. Sorry, Raggedy Ann. The next one's interesting. For a few of these I selected, I know your interest in passion and history, so I tried to connect to some interesting places. This is the first one. It's the title is Bev Vintage 1940s Haunted-Looking Doll from the Island of Dolls in Mexico. So, and there's a photo here. Very small. Bev is approximately 6.5 inches long, 3 inches wide, porcelain face, hands, and feet.
Yeah, and out of that 6.5 inches long, about 4 inches is her like poofy hairdo.
The hair is quite poofy. I like that the poster, the seller decided to show its size in comparison to a dollar bill too. I don't know why. That's a bit of a trashy look all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nevertheless, she's a vintage Thursday's Child doll. And then we get a little narrative from the poster. Just south of Mexico City, you can find a small island with a sad background, which never intended to be a tourist destination. It is known as the Island of the Dolls. It is dedicated to the lost soul of a poor girl who met her fate too soon in strange circumstances.
I've heard of this place.
This is real.
Yeah.
This is a place that actually exists.
Yeah, I don't want to go there.
No, There's doll parts hanging everywhere. I think we go on here. The area has thousands of people, but the small island is home to hundreds of terrifying dolls. Their severed limbs, decapitated heads, and blank eyes adorn trees. It is said that a girl was found drowned in mysterious circumstances many years ago on this island, and that the dolls are possessed by her spirit. Now, before we talk about the doll, just to add some historical context, that part seems generally to be true. And the gentleman who owned this island, who started this doll collection, ironically, did this to try to protect himself because he felt he was being impacted by the presence of the spirit of this young girl who drowned. But he drowned himself in 2001, which is a very ironic twist on how the story ends. But back to Bev.
So basically, I don't mean to make light of this person's misfortune, but
Please don't.
But it wasn't a very effective strategy, I guess.
The strategy clearly failed.
It's not. Yeah, okay.
Plastic doll parts.
So if I am having issues in my life of one kind or another, surrounding myself with thousands of dolls is unlikely to solve it.
Unlikely, but let's be fair. You don't know.
All right.
So the story of Bev is as follows. Bev comes from a group of vintage Thursdays dolls that were taken off the island in the 1950s. The group of dolls were sent to me anonymously with a letter stating they were taken from the island. The person stated in the letter that as soon as they had taken the dolls home, strange things started happening.
Wait, hold on just 1 second. So this person received a box of these dolls anonymously from somebody who had... Like, wouldn't you want to be the person who... Like, what is it about this seller that random strangers are sending them a box of haunted dolls and just thinking, you're the right person to keep this?
Well, that's a good question. If you get an unexpected, unlabeled package in the mail that contains dolls or doll parts,
yeah, I mean, you might have to ask some questions about your life. But that being said, I could easily end up being that person. That could easily happen here, especially if this episode is more popular than I want it to be.
As soon as they got home, strange things started happening. They wrote that lights would flicker and they would hear whispering and giggling all through the night from the room where the dolls were displayed. They stated they'd brought in a medium and she was able to make contact with all the children attached to the dolls. The girls had told her they were brought to the island after dying at a bad hospital in the United States.
All right.
Now, this is an unexpected plot twist, I think, because we're in Mexico. Yeah. Somehow these children, after getting bad service, we could make a U.S. healthcare joke, I suppose, somehow end up dying somehow getting to an island in Mexico.
Right.
And the other obvious problem with this kind of story is if it is someone who lived in Mexico for any period of time, Bev is a bit of an unusual name for a Mexican spirit. But nevertheless, when they passed, the dolls were near them and they attached themselves to the dolls, these girls. They'd been in the island for nearly 20 years before the person took them. The person kept the girls for many years but became sick and needed to find someone to take care of them, such as Glen Shackleton. Bev may be small, but she is very haunted. She told the medium she was 10 when she passed away from a tumor. She is EVP, EMF, and cold spots active. She's a triple threat.
She's got the triple threat.
And I
like it. Okay. So it's Beverly Sanchez, EVP, EMF.
Yes. I've seen lights flickering, heard singing and whispering. Key point here, the final one. Results will vary depending on surrounding and experience. So that's Bev's story, as questionable it's may be. Of course, we don't know for certain this doll was on the island of dolls, but we have no reason to distrust the seller, I don't think. What do you think about Bev? Does she sound like the kind of the doll you're not really looking for, but we're forcing upon you?
Well, I think it's not so much a question just about Bev. I mean, there's certain things going for Bev here. Small in size. Got the porcelain face. Not so keen on that. But
because it's frightening?
Yeah. The porcelain ones are definitely worse. Well, I think it depends. But why are people selling these? Well, this is a good question that I have. In general,
yes.
I understand why. First of all, a previous one there that got the mother to try to kill her family. Isn't it kind of irresponsible to sell that to somebody else? Shouldn't you just burn that thing? I mean, Bev here seems pretty harmless, so I definitely would keep that as a contender.
All right, so Bev will stay in the contention pile here. The next one's fun because it ties into one of Canada's best-known ghost stories, and that has to do with the haunting at the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. And this doll is called Freya, and the story's in there, so we'll let the seller unfold the story. I'm sure better than I can. I connect with paranormal teams worldwide and take in these dolls and find new homes for them. These dolls are from real haunted locations. Real is all caps there.
Yes.
Freya is approximately 17 inches long, 8 inches wide, with porcelain face, sorry about that, hands and feet. Ever since it was completed in 1888, the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel has been associated with paranormal activity. One of the most famous legends is of the Ghost Bride, a woman who reportedly awaits people in the hotel ballroom. And I think there's more stories where they've seen her throughout the hotel, and I think the Canadian Mint made a coin about her a few years ago, which
definitely
some listeners may have seen.
Story checks out so far. Definitely a famous haunted place.
Famous haunted place. So let's get the story of Freya exactly here. A little girl named Freya was given a doll that had a dress similar to her mother's on her mother's wedding day. She loved her mommy's wedding dress so much she wanted a dolly just like it. The little girl stayed at the hotel with her mummy and knew Daddy a year after the wedding. On the second night, she went exploring the hotel with her doll and fell down the stairs and broke her neck. Freya is EMF, EVP active, as well as FLIR, which is infrared.
Oh, I didn't even know what that one was.
Yeah, I had to look that one up.
Okay.
Now, Freya, she does love to roam, and if given the chance, she has been known to move slightly when talking to her.
I like the Canadian content on this one.
Thought you might.
That's definitely good. I mean, it's nice. It's from a famous haunted place, and it ties in with the ghost story. So that's definitely got some tick marks in the right. But when I look at the picture of this doll all in a creepy wedding dress or whatever, that's where the hell no comes in. But I mean, that's probably going to be. I mean, none of these are pleasant looking things. I think with this one definitely is a contender.
Yeah, I mean, the wedding dress does add. I mean, if I came into work one day and saw a doll sitting on your desk, I mean, there'd be questions, of course.
Yes.
But something like a doll in a wedding dress does seem to amplify those questions.
It adds even worse questions. Creepy.
We're going to leave that on the maybe pile for now. All right. Now, this is perhaps, I don't know, I find this doll very, very strange looking. It's got kind of
what the hell?
It's got kind of a plastic head, plastic arms, but the rest of the body seems to be homemade knit.
It looks like somebody's done macrame or something. This is like a prize you would win at like a bingo in a small town.
Well, this isn't any doll. This is baby doll Ish, who is haunted and is responsible for numerous weird hallucinations. And this is for experienced people only. It does say that right in the title. And that's because of the strange and sometimes frightening energies associated with Ish. I had Ish for a while, and my collection of haunted dolls has expanded. I've not had time to work with her to try to find out what is exactly happening to this doll. Recently, she has become very animated, and I sense strongly that she wants to be rehomed somewhere. Quote, I will be understood, and someone will have time to spend with me. Now, I don't know if that's a direct quote. I mean, it is in quotes.
Right.
Person said they didn't have much time to work with the doll.
The doll is actually saying this.
I think it's a question we have so far.
Okay.
I will write down her original information as well as my own personal experience. Here's her original information, which I got from her seller. Ish will come with this leaflet and pamphlet paperwork, so at least you'll have the information. I received Ish last week from a friend of mine who had bought her at a yard sale for her child. She said that her child woke her several nights in a row as the mother could hear two people talking, her child and another voice. After a few months in their home, strange things began happening. I mean, that first part is strange enough, I think, but nevertheless. The child was 3 years old and had the doll Ish. The child became frightful of this doll, and the mother also became frightened as she was having in capitals, illusions.
Illusions.
Sounds like a magician. I think hallucinations maybe is what we're talking about.
Sure.
Visions, sure. She was seeing things that were not there. Events around her were taking place that were not really occurring. I've not spent a great deal of time with Ish, but I do sense a strangeness within her. I feel that she is a child spirit who enjoys playing tricks on people. She seems to be very young and does not mean to upset or frighten anyone. She just seems very bored and does not know how else to express herself. I don't sense anything malicious, though her actions are unnerving, and they will be noticed much more if you do not have any other spirit dolls or any other protection spirits to control her. Yes.
Hang on. Okay. So if we were to purchase this doll-ish, then it's required for us to have additional dolls to protect us from this doll.
And this kind of
That's
sounds,
definitely a strike against it.
it sounds like a marketing campaign to me, right? Because you can't just get the one action figure.
Yes.
You're going to need the whole play set.
You need
You're gonna
all
need
of
to
them.
build it out.
Exactly. And next thing you know, you end up with the Star Wars Cantina playset and all of the Star Wars figures that no one else wants. That's what I had as a kid. I had them all the weird ones, all the weird Star Wars creatures that were, I had the trash bin robot.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
That was just a trash bin with legs.
I don't
Hand me
know.
down. That's the joy of being the youngest of four boys.
It's a good point. Like, I don't think I ever had, like, Luke Skywalker.
No,
Or Han
I didn't have
Solo
any of
even.
the good stuff. Like none of those. I don't think so. I think I had Chewie. I think
Yeah,
that was
I think I
about
had
as
Chewie.
that was about as mainstream of a Star Wars toy as I ever managed to get my hands on. Anyway, we
The
digress.
story continues. I placed her in my bedroom and had nightmares which have been more like horror films. When I have been about to wake up, I've seen some of these figures for a short time. I've noticed her activity mainly when I have been about to fall asleep. When asleep and when I was about to wake up. Well, it covers a fairly broad spectrum there,
Yeah,
but it does sound a
sure.
bit like sleep paralysis. I loaned Ish to a friend of mine who told me, well, that was nice, of course, when you give a haunted doll to someone. Lent it to a friend who told me that Ish seems to magnify any phobias which you may have. She will say, "What are you afraid of?" such as spiders, and show you a picture of the thing in your mind when she is near. That's interesting. I'm listing her as I have a sense she is very eager to move to a new home. I also sense a type of childlike energy about her. She wants to be accepted and loved, and maybe her parents loved horror films and they watched them all the time. A little speculative guess
Okay.
there at the
Yeah,
end.
Sure.
But what strikes you about Ish here?
Well, I'm not sure I'm qualified to have Ish here. I mean, it says it should only be brought by an experienced person who's used to strange and sometimes frightening energies. And I suppose that's probably true enough in my line of business.
Yeah, you have a little expertise in that regard.
But I guess, I mean, first of all, if she's showing me phobias in my mind of dolls, am I just seeing an image of her when I'm looking at her? That's not going to accomplish much. But also, they say that her parents liked horror films and watched them all the time. And I am a notorious chicken and do not watch horror films. So I'm not sure she'd be happy with my company. I do wonder. So I don't understand. Okay, so this person actually bought this doll from somebody else. I mean, isn't that kind of a red flag? She actually, okay, fair enough. Some random stranger sends you a box of haunted dolls from Mexico. I mean, what are you going to do? You got to find something to do with these
Gotta do
dolls.
something.
Maybe you're going to sell them on eBay.
True.
But this is a person who actually went out of her way to buy this thing on eBay and now senses that she needs a new home.
Yep.
I suspect this is a little bit like a reference for a job where you're thinking, they're not telling me everything here.
There's more to the story than what we're getting.
I think I got to say a hell no to baby doll-ish. That one's got to go.
That knitted body's pretty pretty luxurious,
Yeah, and that's just asking for bed bugs.
though. Well, that's a good point. All right, our final selection is kind of a 2-for-1 offer. I'll point out the picture to you first. There's kind of a large doll. It doesn't quite look like a porcelain head, maybe plastic. So maybe we're okay in that regard. Old-fashioned dress. But the kind of unsettling part is the like miniature doll, which is maybe
Yeah.
a quarter of the original doll
The
size.
haunted doll has a haunted doll of her own.
Well, this is it. So it's a 2-for-1.
And out of all of them, her face is the most classically creepy in my mind. I mean, like some of the other dolls are more weird looking,
Yes.
But she definitely has the look of the kind of doll I do not like.
It's that vacant kind of stare.
Yeah.
So let's learn about.
And I don't trust the mini-me either.
Well, I found the mini-me.
Yeah.
In the
The
dress,
little Scottish doll that's with her, with like a little kilt or whatever, a little tartan skirt.
There's mixed themes in this one, I would say.
Is that a kilt? Or okay, we'll get into that.
It's a tartan of some sort.
Yes.
But
if it's Francis, well, I think that's the male Francis. So.
And it's not entirely clear which doll is which, but the two names are Stella and Francis. And the title is Haunted Vessel Doll, Active Strong Spirits, Stella and Francis. And it starts out with a very wise statement. If you're being drawn to this doll, or dolls, it's probably for a reason. Trust your instincts. Meet Stella and Francis. Stella and Francis are childhood friends, next-door neighbors. They are both 10 years old. They live in South Carolina. Should be lived, I think. They loved to ride bikes around their neighborhood and would ride into town a lot, which was not very far. In the summer of 1970, they were off to town when a car stopped them. An older guy got out and wanted to know if they could help him find his way as he was lost. All these girls would share with us is that the bad, ugly, tall man took us. They will not share anything other than Stella said the man took her life first, then Francis followed. Now we get a little breakdown of the two. Stella is the talker. Francis will talk a bit, answer yes or no questions. Stella said they need a safe home of a true believer to protect them from danger. Danger like they have known. They want a happy afterlife as their short lives ended so violently. It would be a good starter spirit, and you kind of mentioned this.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
But do like to be around other spirited vessels or items. So, they like having other stuff around. Stella says her and Francis like to play hide and seek and hopscotch, dodgeball. Note here, we get the aroma of bubble gum when the girls are active. Stella and Francis will float in orbs throughout the shop as if they are chasing each other. These girls chatter a lot and will be heard laughing and giggling from whichever room they are in. These two girls like being around happy people and love to be close to each other. They will verbally communicate with their keeper and will chat with other spirited items. This set would be a good starter spirit as they are safe to be around children and pets.
And pets, too.
And pets, both.
Oh, that's good.
So it's covering all the bases.
It's nice to know none of them will murder my pets.
Well, it's a fair, it's a good question. Yeah. I'm glad the seller included that. This duo communicates through the Ouija board or spirit box, EVP meter. They also will communicate telepathically.
No, that's convenient. I don't mean to make light of the haunted nature of these vessel dolls, but it is, from a practical standpoint, to be able to have them communicate telepathically is probably helpful.
I would think so.
It might be less disconcerting to house guests if you're able to communicate with them telepathically instead of having them verbally start chatting with you.
And what about the male person, someone just driving past on the street? There may be some legal liabilities to consider.
Sure, let alone, it's good that they're good with pets. I have lots of pets myself, so I'm not going to bring whatever these things are home with me, but, you kind of get a 2-for-1 deal with these two dolls. I guess that answers my question. They are both girls, the dolls. They seem mostly pretty friendly, I guess.
And given your kind of uncomfortableness with the creepy dolls, does the fact that this seller indicates very clearly that they are happy spirits, does that make you more positively disposed to this set?
Yeah, I don't know if that makes a big difference. Well, it is it is comforting to know that their intention is not to murder me in my sleep, but, just because they're giggling and laughing, it's only a matter of time, isn't it, before they turn on you?
Yeah, I think that's fair. If they're very talkative, this could drive you crazy, I would think.
Well, I'm just sure, they're laughing now, but, who knows what they're thinking about. especially maybe this person just sold them on eBay just in time before they'd managed to concoct a an elaborate plan to murder them in their sleep. Maybe the pets too. They don't know for sure. I mean, how long have they had these dolls? It's not clear.
And that's certainly a theme we see in a lot of these listings.
Yeah, I can understand people owning dolls, and I mean, I myself have had dolls in my presence that I genuinely believe there's something unusual going on. They could be haunted. It's the selling them on eBay part that's a little bit hard to understand. Either, I know I've read listings of haunted dolls where they, in other scenarios where they've like said that they brought good fortune and money and things, but then you wonder, why are they selling the thing if it's such good luck? Whereas if these are, dolls that are genuinely have a good chance of murdering somebody, it would seem like you should probably take some steps to destroy that thing.
Yeah, I think those are fair
That
comments.
being said, especially when you're only getting $20 for them. I mean, maybe if you were getting like $250 or something like that, sure, maybe you might sell your murder doll and just kind of, brush it under the rug a little bit and move on with your life. But is it really worth $20? I mean, that's...
To have that on your conscience.
Have that on your conscience. I mean, that's going to weigh on you.
Yeah.
But anyway, with regard to Stella and Francis, I think they're definitely a contender. They're creepy. I mean, whichever one, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and guess that Stella is the, like, larger, like, more traditional doll, and Francis might be the creepy-ass Scottish kilt-wearing doll. That's the one I'd be the more worried about.
Yeah. The smaller
It's small, and it can, like, it can creep underneath your door frame. It can hide in your sock drawer. I mean, there's any manner of stuff can go down with what we'll call Francis here.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think they're creepy. They've got the story is, this is obviously a sad story, but summer of 1970 as well. And, so they're around the same age as me. So
well, that's true.
Pretty close. So.
Yep.
So we would have some things in common, I suppose.
Something to talk about.
Yeah. And we
true.
would apparently talk frequently.
Nonstop.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about this, saying that the girls chatter a lot. And that I believe they said that Stella is the talker. Stella is the talker. Francis will talk a bit. And answer questions, yes or no. How much talking are we? I mean, how much talking do I have to deal with here?
Well, the other part that kind of frightened me was the idea that they will chat with other spirited items. So what if you have something already in your house that you're just not aware is kind of a haunted or possessed spirited item?
Yeah.
Suddenly you could be finding objects all over the place they're talking to. That could be unsettling.
Yeah, they say they like being around other spirited vessels or items. So maybe there's some vessels that maybe my Xbox really is prepared to take on a spirit. And it's just something I'm not even aware of. But Stella and Francis, I guess, would it be better to know that? They could point that out. So that's useful, I suppose.
All right, well,
they're contenders.
Let's recap then our contenders. We've narrowed it down.
Yeah.
So we have the haunted demonic EMF doll, and this is the story of the mother who was trying to kill her daughters, and they decided that the doll was to blame very quickly.
Yeah.
And got it out of the house.
I just find that one... Yeah, okay. We'll recap them all first.
Recap them all. The second one was the doll from the Island of the Dolls in Mexico. The young girls attached themselves to a bunch of dolls, and this is one of them. So this was taken off the island in the 1950s. There is Freya, the doll from the Banff Springs Hotel, who has the creepy bride's outfit on. And then there are the two we just discussed, Stella and Francis. So if you had to pick one, is there one you're leaning towards now? Or is there any further you want to eliminate?
To be clear, I don't want any of these dolls.
Well, yeah, that's fine. I understand that's your wish. But the Haunted Walk, we've had a great year. We want to make sure you get something notable.
If we just want to get one that I think is kind of the cool, I would get rid of the doll from the Island of the Dolls in Mexico.
Okay.
I think the provenance on that one is maybe a little bit weak.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure that I buy this whole this whole story. It seems like there's a lot of holes in this tale. And, I mean, we could be wrong, but I would need more information to be confident on that one. I think that one's got to go.
Okay.
Bev is done.
Bev is gone. So that leaves us the murder doll, the Vamp Springs doll, and the pair of Stella and Francis.
It seems like I don't know if I can morally support the eBay seller who is selling the murder doll due to the history of possession associated with the demon attached to this doll and recent events. I need to part with this for safety reasons.
It does sound like a bad move.
Yeah.
To bring that into your house.
So why sell that on eBay? No, I'm just saying, I don't know that I can give money to this person who is making, if I own a doll, look, I own Chucky's head. I own up to that. Yes, it's probably haunted. I probably has brought lots of misery, but I don't re-gift that, nor am I trying to sell it to anybody else. I own it. It's my problem to deal with, Chucky's head. And
there's an interesting legal question here, because if the doll was to then kill someone around you,
yes,
and you had bought it because of these
traits, specifically,
it
would probably cause me to kill somebody.
Well, it could do that. Yes,
the doll
that's true.
would get no blame in this.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, and I generally like the people I associate with. I don't really want any of them to be murdered due to my possession by this creepy doll. I think,
and of course, it could result in your own death.
Yeah,
if it possesses,
that's true.
someone else around you.
It's certainly true, especially
Kafka-like.
In my current weakened state of this cold. I doubt I could really take anybody that it was trying to get me to murder. So I don't know. So look, I think as far as our final three contenders, I'm most torn between Freya because it's got a cool Canadian content tied with the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel.
Yep.
That's really cool. I don't like the doll. I don't enjoy its creepy appearance, nor do I enjoy its even creepier wedding dress. But, the goal here is not for me to find something that's going to make me comfortable. So I think between that and, Stella and Francis, I can see a lot of possibilities here. I think out of the ones, if I just looked at all the pictures and was like, this is the one I least want to be staring at me as I sleep, probably the one I'm going to refer to as Stella probably wins in that category as far as just creepiest. Not the weirdest looking doll. It's a more traditional doll, but it is creepy, undeniably. So I'm kind of torn between those two.
Now, it is our hope with these dolls that they will be making some appearances at various things over in 2019, maybe showing up at some of our tours, some of our haunted locations. Mm-hmm. So looking at your final two choices, I would say, the Freya doll with that wedding dress.
Yeah.
That's the creepiest costume.
Yeah, I agree.
Certainly, it would be a good photo op.
Yeah.
But
and we do occasionally do, tours of ghost stories across Canada. So, if we were to do that again, it would be kind of cool to have a doll that was from the Banff Springs Hotel. We could share that. Not only could we share that story, but think about it. Hear me out. Maybe Freya could share the story. I'm not sure if they've claimed. Oh, they do say that they don't claim that she talks, that one. They claim that she'll move when you talk to her.
Yes.
And she likes to roam around. And she is EMF, FLIR, EVP active. So maybe through those means we could get Freya to actually tell her own story, giving the tour guide a little break.
That might take some work, but maybe we can do it.
Yeah.
I would say for Stella and Francis, I do kind of want to take them to a haunted location like the Ottawa Jail Hostel, Black Creek Pine Village, and separate them into maybe different rooms. And maybe I'm trying to provoke them a little bit, I suppose. But that would be an interesting experiment, maybe a little more dangerous, too.
Yeah.
It's going to be in your place for a bit.
And it seems unkind. They do claim that these are just happy children's spirits. So, I don't want to mess with them too much. I do like the idea of just randomly concealing one of these dolls in one of our haunted locations. Like maybe we just put it there for a month and we see whether we get any reports, any increases of activity. So, maybe we just hide it somewhere that we visit regularly. Maybe Black Creek, Pioneer Village. Maybe we can hide it somewhere in a corner.
Yep.
Put it in a box or something. Hide it under the bed. I'm sure we could convince one of our sites to get on board with this. Maybe we hide it at the Bytown Museum, or I don't know.
Yes.
Any of those places. I mean, we could move around.
There'll be some experimentation for sure. We're going to have to do something.
Yeah. If I had to pick one right now, I think I would pick Freya from the Banff Springs Hotel.
Okay. Excellent choice.
If Freya was not available, then Stella and Francis would also be an excellent option.
Okay. Well, I will let the tour guides know you have made your kind of final two decisions, and we'll see if we can get those delivered in time so they are under your Christmas tree for Christmas morning, ready for you to unwrap. I'm sure that
they're not coming into my house.
To be determined. I think. Yeah. But yeah, we'll use the dolls throughout the year, so we'll give you updates on those as we go. The photos for all the dolls, you can check them out on our website, hauntedwalk.com/podcasts. Put a link up there so you can see all the different dolls we discussed today. And of course, when the doll arrives, we'll be certain to post on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter a picture of Glenn with his new prized possession. Are you okay, Glenn?
Yep.
Okay.
I'm fine. I'll survive.
A big thank you to Glenn for joining us for this special episode and being such a good sport. I do want to share my secret now, which is we have successfully purchased the doll off eBay and it is headed towards us right now. So we will be sharing an unboxing video, perhaps another podcast episode. So stay tuned. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Haunted Walk. You will see some fun photos and video very soon. But when I had to make the decision of where to ship the doll to, I decided I just could not in good conscience ship it to my house. I didn't want to inflict that upon my family. So despite the fact we have been kind of tongue-in-cheek this whole time, making some smart comments about these listings, I was not brave enough to send it to my house. I do not want this haunted doll in my home. So take that for what it's worth. Thank you for joining us for the show. It's always such a pleasure to have you along. Thank you to our entire Haunted Walks team, including Michelle Dennis, our expert audio editor, and to Kevin McLeod at Incompetech.com for the additional music. If you're interested in our Nightmare Before and After Xmas tours or the events we're doing at Black Creek Pioneer Village in December, please visit our website, which is hauntedwalk.com. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you know when the new episodes are coming out, and a great early Christmas gift for us would be a 5-star review on whichever platform you are listening to us on. Until we meet again, sweet dreams.